Hi, folks. You are watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks. I'm Mike Morales here, sweltering in Southern California. That guy out there is
Jim Johnston freezing in Northeast Ohio.
50 degrees in Northeast Ohio. That's a heat wave for you guys, right?
Well,
Uh,
now this time of year it's officially baseball springtime, and this time last year it was Cinco de Mayo, and I believe it was about 74 degrees, and I was shaking up margaritas on the patio, and now
with a mask on.
I was my own patio. I didn't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't. I probably had a mask on for the pollen, but now I can't even go outside. It's wet. It's rainy. The weather was nicer today in Ireland than it was in Ohio. I know that for a fact. So, any of my Irish friends watching, your climate is better than this part of the United States right now.
Well, we're a global company here at Tequila Aficionado, and we're every time Jim comes on, I don't know who he's contacting back home in Ireland, but we get more hits from Ireland, and every time Philippe is on, he's our UK correspondent, UK taster. The UK just jumps up, UK and Canada, and then lately, because we've made a nice friendship and association with an importer in Australia. So now we're getting hits from Australia, and now that we've done the agave spirits around the world, our hits were coming from everywhere: India, South Africa. So we get hits from China. It's the ones from Belarus I have a problem with, because that's probably just a VPN. Anyway, tonight we're going to taste and dissect Ranch 2.0 Ranch Water Spirits, the classic margarita. And I really enjoyed the tequila soda was very good, very good.
Green, it was refreshing. Yeah.
And as is our custom, we're going to open this, drink it neat first without any ice. Then we're going to add ice to it and go from there and see what differences we get. And then we'll give you some of the stats and stories on this female-owned company. Wow, I got bubbles. I didn't shake it.
I got bubbles too.
Yeah.
Mine was bubbling. Okay, it's a clear margarita.
How can you tell? Oh, that's
a clear margarita.
Okay, well, that must be a good sign, right?
Well, I would say that if you tried to color it like a margarita, this would probably look like a Fresca or just a straight up soda if you poured it out.
Yeah. I'm gonna pour mine in my rocks glass, in my Flor de Caña rocks glass, because that's what I got. And yeah, I guess I should have had a napkin here, but anyway, I got some.
A little bubble over there.
I got a little bit on Jim here. He's got a couple of droplets on his face, at least on my screen, anyway. Okay, the same soda.
Yeah,
I'm still getting, and we talked about that
shortly.
Yeah, that'll clear out shortly. It's got to open up, and now Jim's using a wine glass. I'm using a rocks glass. Chances are, if you have this, you'll be drinking it out of the can cold. But as Jim mentioned in our last video, who else is going to be sitting around a campfire nosing an RTD?
Right. Or if these RTDs pick up, somebody at the frat party, pinky out, nosing trying to. Oh, this has a lovely floral nose to it. Let's have 20 of them.
He'll get drummed out of the fraternity.
Starting to pick up a little bit of that lime, but the salt and the carbonation is still prominent on that nose.
Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, but I was almost getting a little bit of a mint. I'm not sure why. Maybe that's just.
I think that's the carbonation and the salt coming through a little. It's like a mineral menthol.
Okay, that's it right there. Mm. Well, as Jim had put it together before, while we were tasting this without ice and at room temp, this is again one of those that's designed to be had on ice and cold. And I'm not sure. See, and that's why we do this at room temp, because I want to know what the base recipe tastes like. Because what we're discovering is that there are the RTD market, the RTD category actually has a couple of different directions it's going in. One is I want my formula to taste great cold. And then the other branch of that category says, you know what? I want to start with the freshest, best ingredients first. And if it stands up to the carbonation in the ice, that's what I want.
Right.
Instead of designing it to be cold. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's supposed to be. And the last one, the ranch water that we had, that lime stood up. You could taste it warm, and it wasn't an overbearing lime flavor, but it was powerful. And then when the ice got added, it was still there, but it was just a little bit muted. And I think this was built to stand up to ice and to be cold. We don't like warm, fizzy cocktails.
No, but see, the other thing, I'm of the mind that eventually, maybe not your first one, because these are low ABVs. You know, there's a low alcohol. This is what, a 7%, just like the ranch.
This one is 6.5. The margarita is 6.5.
Oh, 6.5. Okay, so it's even lighter than the ranch water. You know,
Right.
eventually you're gonna wind up going back to after your second or third one, because these are called long drinks. You can have these all day long because the ABV is so small. You're gonna eventually get back to your fourth or fifth drink, and it's gonna be warm, and you're either gonna finish it or you're not. And you know, because if you wouldn't finish it, would that mean that you don't like the base? You know, that you don't like it as a watered down or warm?
Or
See,
maybe the temperature is what turns you off on that.
yeah, but see, I I would be the one to finish it. I want it to taste as good warm as it does cold. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me because I don't do these types of cocktails. But that would be me, and I've had a couple. I mentioned those on the review, on the ranch water review. Volley and Azulana really stand up to room temperature, and you didn't you and I did Azulana together. We didn't pick up the fact that it was designed to be drunk cold because we dissected those from the very beginning as at room temp, and we enjoyed it at room temp because you're eventually going to, even if you're not a big RTD drinker, you're going to come back to it's going to be either warm or watered down. But would you still drink it? See, I think I'm onto something. But we're seeing that the category is spread out. You know, it's going in that I want it cold only, and I want my stuff to stand up.
So you're the kind of guy that takes a sip of the RTD, puts it down in the sand, goes and plays volleyball, comes back to it. It's been sitting in the sun in the warm sand for a little while, and you want it to still be there. Whereas, you know, the RTD category seems to be people who would be holding the drink and trying to play with one hand and finishing it as fast as they can
without spilling it. Okay.
Right.
I'm sorry. I took a sip before you did. I'm really sorry.
That's okay.
Let's do that. I gotta say, it goes in sweet, finishes with that lime. That lime is very prevalent.
And the salt is higher in this than in the ranch water because of the margarita, but you purse your lips a little bit because that lime is a natural kind of lime tang on it that you get from a margarita. But I think by tasting this, the way the salt and lime is built, this is supposed to have ice in it or be very cold.
All right. Well, you talked me into it. Let's grab our ice. Let's grab our ice, and let's just go there. I'm using my little freezer bag because it's hot in here, and the little ice that I have left is melting quickly. So, and that's did I confess to you, Jim, last time that we did these RTDs that my fridge has no ice maker?
Oh,
I got
it's
I got ice trays. Who's got ice trays, right? I do.
I have ice trays. My fridge has an ice maker. I have ice trays in it because you can never have enough ice. But I'm one of those people where if I would never taste this warm if somebody said, "Do you want a beverage?" and handed it to me. If they handed it to me warm, I'd look at them like, "What's wrong with you? This is supposed to be cold."
Well,
Same thing with a beer. If it comes out of the fridge, it's supposed to be cold. So
yeah. Like you said during our last review, who's going to be nosing a warm what IBA?
a PBR, you sit around the campfire like, oh, the beer smells different when it's warm.
He'd be pointing out, that's just Mike. Leave him alone. Again, muted nose because of the ice.
Just like the other one, hasn't changed it, just taking it down a notch.
Can I even say that this is probably even designed to not even be nosed? It's just designed to be, who's going to sniff the can? You know what I mean? Who's doing that, right?
Yeah, we're putting a lot of thought into what happens in a ready-to-drink can. I mean, this is kind of pop this open at the beach. It's got condensation coming off the side of it. You crack it open, you take a sip. Oh, it's refreshing, and that's it. And you really don't think about anything else besides it's cold, it's refreshing, and it'll get you there.
But see, here's the thing. What people don't understand is, I know that they talk about ranch water being Texas owned. It's like Texas' unofficial cocktail. Okay, but that's tequila and Topo Chico. Okay, in New York, stockbrokers, the bros, in the late '90s, I think even prior to 911, if I'm not mistaken, were drinking tequila and soda. That was the drink on Wall Street, tequila and soda. So, who invented it? Who did it best first? Who invented it better? Granted, I like the Topo Chico
people from
idea.
Texas against brokers from Wall Street and said who did it better, they would disagree vehemently about how that got done. But.
And I would love to watch that conversation. So what I'm saying is, there are two, even of this drink, there's two different styles, except for now this margarita is clear, so there's no mixed look to it.
Right.
What do you think they're using for the sweetener?
Probably just a little bit of natural sugar or natural cane juice. But there's not a ton of sweetness on this.
Well, not this on the entry. I got more sweetness, and then it changes completely into this lime. Again, the lime is standing up to the ice.
This is supposed to taste like a margarita, because if you took a cold can of a fully mixed, foolproof margarita out and drank it cold, like you would drink a carbonated beverage, and you carbonated a margarita, your mouth would just be so astringent for that period of time because of the carbonation and the lime, you couldn't drink it. This is meant to be, you could take this in a couple sips when it's cold, and it's supposed to taste like a margarita, which it does.
Yeah. Well, they accomplished what they set out to do. This tastes great cold.
Yeah. Yes.
It really does.
Very refreshing. It's not overly sweet.
No.
It's got good lime tang to it that a margarita would have, and it's very good cold.
Yeah. Now, they also have a vodka soda. They have a gin fizz, which we didn't get. That's fine. The classic margarita, the information that they sent us on the press release, it's a national favorite. Our classic Marg is made with premium tequila, sparkling water, lime, and a dash of orange. Aha!
That's what gives it that little bit of slight sweetness.
That's what it is. But I'm thinking it's not. I don't think it's orange concentrate.
I don't think so either.
I thought it was rather sweet at the entry. Unlike the ranch water, of course, there's no sweetness.
Maybe a little bit of orange liqueur or an orange syrup.
Okay. It says this cocktail is slightly sweeter than its cousin, the ranch water, but not as tart as margaritas. That's true. You get from the local taqueria. Low in calories and sugar, but big on flavor. It'll bring back memories of those fun fiestas you may or may not remember. Okay.
See, this is supposed to be for people that are going to have 5 or 6 of these without stopping to smell the roses.
Yeah. Well, now, what did you say again? The alcohol by volume was this is 8.5.
Oh, 6.5. The other one was 7, but this one says all of their product lines between 6.5 and 7.
Okay. I'm gonna just for the sake of because I'm really interested in this. This company launched during the pandemic. Okay, it launched quietly, kind of a soft launch in 2020, and let's see, made with real alcohol, great taste, no compromise, premium canned cocktail. No ingredients that we know of.
It says salt and natural flavors. The only thing it mentions outright is soda water and natural flavors.
Okay. Oh yeah, there it is. Tequila with soda water and natural flavors. Okay. The sweetness has got to be coming from like you said, an orange syrup, because it almost tastes. I could say it tasted artificial, but and I was wondering where that sweetness was coming from because initially on the entry that's what I got, and then the lime came right through. But I think you're right, Jim. I think this is they're doing these with concentrates because they'll stand up to the ice, and so they set out they accomplish what they set out to do is very refreshing cold.
Very.
You may just leave it alone once it gets warm. If you lose your ice or it's been if you haven't finished it by the time you played volleyball, you're not going to go back to it. You're just going to pop open a fresh one, probably.
Or just pour it over ice again, or throw a shot of tequila in there and add some ice to take it down a little bit. Very refreshing cold.
Yeah, there's something catchy about it.
Yeah, the lime is good. It's got a natural. I like that margarita when you pucker a little bit with that fresh lime when it hits your palate and the salt.
Yeah.
This has that. They've even achieved a little bit of salinity in this with the idea that you've had salt on the rim of your margarita, but it's not crazy. And I think they get that from the soda.
I do too. I think, for what it is, I like it. I'm going to go ahead and again. I think it's a Brand of Promise nominee in that category. Ranch
mixto.
Yeah, we technically have to put it into a mixto category because as we discovered, it's being canned right here in Mira Loma, which isn't very far from where I am, and of course, born in Texas. But just to give you some ins and outs on the name of the company, Ranch 2O. And the owner is a native Texan. Her name is Amelia Letieri. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. She's the CEO, and apparently she's no slouch. This brand has already won a couple of awards. She's a Dallas native and graduate of Texas A&M with a BBA in finance. So Amelia is not a stranger to the bev industry. She's a smart cookie. So you know what? If you're going to jump onto the burgeoning RTD category, ready to drink, you may as well do it with something that's going to stand up to the ice, and this is a full can too. We're talking, some of the ones we've had are in smaller cans as well. Maybe not the full. What's this? 12.5 ounces? Yeah.
Yeah.
12 ounces. So that's our take on Ranch 2O, and that's the classic margarita. If you find it out there and you've had it before, let us know in the comments. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a shout. Tell us what you think, and if you've had it, would you buy it? There's a MSRP on it as well. I can quickly look that up for you. They're going to be, Amelia's worked with companies like 7-Eleven, so you could be able to get this probably everywhere. with wide distribution, it might be the most convenient thing to pick up. And I think that's the whole idea. I can't find that I can't find the MSRP on that, but if you've seen it before, tell us what the MSRP is. What are you paying for it? But that's our take on ranch water spirits. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California. That guy out there is
Jim Johnston in Youngstown, Ohio.
You've been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks. Please subscribe to us. Again, if you're watching us on YouTube, hit the notification bell, give us a like, subscribe, and whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.